Welcome back to Kdramas Decoded, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode of your favorite K-drama. Episode 4 begins with Team 1 investigating a mysterious abandoned house after receiving a disturbing clue that someone, or something, may be trying to lead them to a crime. Inside, they discover human remains, confirming that the abandoned house has been used to dispose of bodies. Among the latest victims' belongings, they find a pair of glasses belonging to Park Hyun-soo, a man who disappeared after becoming the prime suspect in the murder of Kim Min-seo 3 months earlier. The detectives quickly realize that Hyun-soo may not have been Min-seo's killer at all. His fingerprints had been found on the knife used to murder her, but the knife did not belong to him. If Hyun-soo was also murdered, someone could have deliberately framed him for Min-seo's death before killing him and making his disappearance look like he had simply fled. The team suspects they are dealing with a carefully planned method of creating perfect crimes, potentially involving professional killers. The investigation then turns back to Min-seo's murder. The team discovers that she had reported being stalked 3 times in the month before her death. Although she believed Hyun-soo was following her, the detectives discover something strange. Shortly before her death, Min-seo herself had contacted Hyun-soo and asked him to meet her. This suggests that their relationship was not as simple as the original investigation had assumed. A private investigator named Myung-seok is soon identified as another important piece of the puzzle. He had been hired to follow Min-seo and photograph her meeting with Hyun-soo. However, he claims he was only hired to gather evidence of an alleged affair. He became suspicious when Min-seo was subsequently murdered because the meeting between her and Hyun-soo did not look romantic at all. The detectives uncover the real motive behind the murder. Min-seo's husband, Nam Yi-guk, became the CEO of his furniture company after marrying her, as the company had originally belonged to her father. More importantly, Min-seo had a life insurance policy worth 1 billion won. Yi-guk was also having an affair with his secretary. Once Min-seo discovered the affair and began preparing for divorce, Yi-guk had a strong motive to get rid of her before losing both his marriage and his position at the company. The team becomes convinced that Yi-guk commissioned Min-seo's murder, but there is still one major problem. They have no proof connecting him to the killers. They suspect that Myung-seok was the middleman who connected Yi-guk to the people who actually carried out the murder. To expose the killers, Team 1 decides to use an unconventional undercover operation. They pose as criminals looking to hire someone for a murder and approach the organization through Seok-ho. Their plan is to place a listening device inside the office and wait for the killers to contact them. The detectives even recruit one of their own members to play the intimidating client, complete with a borrowed luxury car, suit, and watch. The ridiculous undercover performance initially looks like it might fail, but eventually, the supposed killers take the bait. A mysterious client asks them to find someone, and the criminals begin discussing the abandoned house where bodies had been disposed of. The detectives realize they have finally found the people connected to the murders. The investigation leads them to a group of criminals, including Jang Yi-chun and Jo Baeum-jae. Evidence connects them to Myung-seok, who had previously been imprisoned with Jang Yi-chun. The detectives track the killers to a remote location, but before they can arrest them, the 2 criminals turn on each other. The detectives arrive to find both men dead. At first, it appears that they may have killed each other while preparing to escape. However, the investigation reveals that the situation is more complicated. The team discovers evidence showing that the criminals had been involved in multiple murders and had been using the abandoned house as a dumping ground. Meanwhile, the detectives finally arrest Nam Yi-guk for ordering his wife's murder. During the confrontation, they reveal that they have recorded evidence of the conversation in which the murder was commissioned. Yi-guk tries to deny that he explicitly ordered Min-seo's death, but the detectives expose his connection to the killers and his motive. The case then takes another shocking turn when the detectives interrogate Yu Tae-gwang, one of the men involved in the killing operation. They reveal that DNA found at the abandoned house matches Tae-gwang's DNA 10 years earlier. A robbery murder had taken place at the same location, and investigators had discovered DNA from the perpetrator, but had never been able to identify a suspect. the detectives realize that the abandoned house was not chosen randomly. Guang had potentially committed his first murder there 10 years earlier, and later returned to use the location as a dumping ground for his subsequent victims. He is also implicated in the deaths of Jang Yi-chun and Jo Baeum-jae. With the evidence finally coming together, Team 1 manages to identify the true mastermind and the people responsible for carrying out the murders. The detectives prove that there is no such thing as a perfect crime when enough evidence is uncovered. The episode ends on a lighter note when a young girl, Park Ha-eun, receives a police award for helping officers catch an important criminal. The detectives celebrate the successful investigation, but the mood quickly changes when another suspicious case emerges. At a hotel, the team investigates room 709, which had supposedly been empty for 2 months. Despite being unused, someone had entered the room. They discover that the hotel's 7th floor CCTV had not malfunctioned. It had deliberately been switched off on the representative's orders. There had also been an assault connected to the room, and investigators find what appears to be blood at the scene. Just as the team begins piecing together what happened in room 709, they receive another unsettling clue. Someone has been meeting secretly with a hotel employee. The episode closes with the detectives realizing that another major case may be about to unfold, while someone ominously remarks that South Korea has far too many CCTV cameras, suggesting that whoever is hiding the truth has gone to considerable lengths to avoid being seen.